Okay. Well, thanks so much again, everybody, for being here tonight, which I think is a incredibly important topic and something that I've learned a lot about more recently. And it feels really important to me, which is why we're sharing it here tonight. So yeah, we're talking about the concept of attention, how important it is, and how that relates to connection, how we connect with each other. And how we can do some things to kind of get this back. Before we begin, since this is so much of what we do at Conscious Ground, I'd like to just everybody take a moment. I mean, we're going to be talking about attention tonight. We're going to be kind of trying to reclaim some of our attention. So, if taking a breath is something that feels comfortable to you, that you do, please do that. Maybe arrive, maybe notice just where you are. Notice where you are in your seat. Maybe notice where you are and where you're sitting, the room you're in. And then, if you could drop in the chat, maybe one word for how you're feeling right now. That could be an emotion. It could be just like a sensation you're feeling. I'm very much about sensation when emotion is tough to find, but would love to hear kind of where you are tonight as you arrive. If you're feeling okay, share it. Carrie's present. Cool. Very good. Content. Deb. Oh, love it. Amazing. Relaxed. Nice. Sneezy allergies. Oh yeah. I think it's kind of that time of year, isn't it? Yeah. Cool. Thanks everybody for checking in. I feel like that's an important part of so much of what we do. So, tired. Carson tired. Yes. Sinking into the sofa. I will be doing that after this for sure. Yeah. Fulfilled. All right. Nice. Wow. Coming in with some good stuff here. Thanks, everybody. So, what to expect tonight in the session? I want to talk a little bit about the attention economy. I'm guessing a good amount of people kind of have heard about this, have an idea of what this is. But I also really want to go into what attention really is, because this is kind of the big thing that became apparent to me and just felt so important. Thus, like creating this session here today, and what attention means in terms of how we connect with each other, and how our attention kind of being co-opted and stolen from us leads to us not being able to connect with ourselves and other people, and why that's so important. And lastly, what can we do about this? And so we'll share a little bit about some things we can do. We'll grow some awareness. We'll do a little bit of practicing here today as well. We'll do something live, and then we'll leave you with some stuff that you can think about afterwards, because so much of what we do here at Conscious Ground is around not only learning, but how we can practice things, and how we can bring things that we can practice into the world, not only for ourselves, but for everybody we come into contact with. And so, this is exactly what we like to offer here. We like to not only teach so we can learn new skills, but practice those things to be able to bring them into the world, and then to be able to just connect with other people. One of the things I love and that I do is I run groups, and people come to my groups very lonely, as I think people are aware of. There's a big problem with loneliness going on right now. A lot of people come to me and say, I don't even really know how to be around other people these days. We all went through COVID, right? That was a lot. And so I feel like we lost some skills, and then some of the things we're talking about tonight really affect how we are with other people. And so we like to offer these free monthly events as a place to just be with other people and connect, and offer that as well. It's really important to me and to us. And so, a little bit about Conscious Ground. We like to say we teach human skills for the future. I started to notice just a few years ago just how disconnected I felt. I noticed a disconnection all around me, and we work to transform human connection, to provide a space where people can practice and learn how to connect, how modern human focused leadership looks, and practice skills around how we can work together to collaborate and in order to kind of build a world that it allows us to be more healthy and where we can all thrive and be happy and live fulfilled lives. So that's our mission here, and that's why we do so much what we do. And I'll talk about a little bit more at the end about that, but that's it for now. That's why we're here, and thank you for being here. Yeah, I want to also just call out this session tonight was largely inspired by this book I read. I love to read, and this book really spoke to me around attention. We already do a lot of work around connection, and this book really shined a light on how important attention is to how we connect with people. I knew about the attention economy, but this book put things in quite a new light to me. So I'm seeing somebody in the waiting room here. Gonna put that. Okay. But yeah, I've been reading reviews about this book, by the way, very like polarizing. I loved it. Apparently, some of people don't like it, but everybody on this call actually, you'll get a follow-up email with some information, the recording and such. But also, you can let me know if you'd like a copy of this book. I'm going to give away a copy of this book to someone on the call tonight. So that is that. Okay. So yeah, in the chat, I'm curious. Anybody here? I mean, I'm imagining a good amount of people have heard about the attention economy, but maybe give me a like a +1 in the chat or like a thumbs up. Like, are people aware of the attention economy here? Yeah, Bridget is.
I think it's what they market.
Oh, and yeah, Karsten as well. Yep. Got a couple people. Okay, I'll go over it. Oh, Deb's minus one. Okay, cool. We'll definitely go over this. Absolutely. So, yeah, thanks everybody. Got a few yeses, and yeah, I would assume some people have heard, but not everybody. So I'm glad we'll go over it really briefly here. But first, I want to start with a story. Another question: are people familiar with the Luddites? Do people know who those folks were? Does anybody want to say like what they were about in the chat? Or if you want to come off mute. Anti-tech Victorians. Yes, Karsten, totally. They resisted the Industrial Revolution. Totally. Um, growing up, heard about the Luddites. Like in school, I heard about them. And what I learned was that this was a group of people. It was in the 1800s, exactly what Ken said. The Industrial Revolution came. Before the Industrial Revolution, people were making things with their hands. It was a very manual process. Then machines came, and the Luddites came and destroyed all of the machines because they did not want the machines taking their jobs. And this was in England. I think it was like textile working. So these machines came and kind of like took over what these people would do. And from what I remember, the people, the workers, they liked doing their jobs. They liked creating things. They liked making things. And then the machines came and kind of just really changed everything, right? And things it didn't require the skill that these people had anymore. Almost anybody could run the machines. That's where like they started having like children work in these places, and it really just it was a massive change. And so one night, after asking for negotiations and writing letters and saying, "Hey, like we don't like this. What can we do about it?" A group of them came in and they destroyed all the machines. And this was a movement that happened across much of England. And if I recall correctly, the army had to be sent in to put down this kind of rebellion. And I think I read somewhere that this was like a bigger army than like the Napoleon had at the time. And so it was quite a big deal. And so that was my memory of it. They were as somebody said in the chat, anti-tech. But actually, I've come to, and this book helped remind me that the myth was that they were anti-technology. They did not like these machines. Their gripe was against the machines, when in fact the reality was they were anti-exploitation. They did not so much hate the machines. They hated that this changed their whole reality of how they do work. And it, much like we're seeing today, it caused them to have to be able to work more, to work longer hours, to be exploited because now these machines made things more advanced and that they could run faster, they could run all of the time. And they were against the exploitation through the machines. While the machines were destroyed, it wasn't the machines themselves that they were against. And this just speaks to me right now when we're talking and hearing about things like AI, where, people are getting replaced. The job market is quite drastically changing. And it's not, in my opinion, so much about the technology, but because I think the technology is good in many ways. There's definitely some problems with it, but also we're seeing some exploitation as we've seen in tech as we've gone. So I think it's an interesting story to think about as we go through things tonight. So how the attention economy works for those that aren't familiar. Our devices are used to capture our attention. Billions of dollars has been spent in technology to make it impossible to look away from our screens. That's from the way that the screens look to the sounds that come. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like when there's like a very gratifying sound when I tap something and it makes like that popping noise, like I feel it. I'm like, oh, wow, that's nice. Like money has been spent to get us to be like, oh, wow, and be drawn to our devices. The other part is the algorithmic side, where we're constantly being kind of surveyed. And so these companies using these algorithms are creating kind of a persona of us. Some say that know us better than we might even know ourselves. And they use that to serve us more content, to keep us drawn in, and to constantly put things in our face, in addition to the devices themselves, to keep us hooked in. We then have the amplification of negative content. So it is of science as well that we are more drawn to negative content than more positive content. Things like outrage and fear are used because they get us to be engaged. It gets our bodies going, and that gets us to want to stay on the platform, to engage more, to be a part of these conversations that are making us angry and frustrated and upset. And so those algorithms prioritize that kind of content to us over more positive content. And then through all of this, companies profit. They, as you can see here, only Meta and Google I'm mentioning here, but billions of dollars being spent through our attention. We can also, of course, look at things like e-commerce and the idea that I'm going to spend attention on goods and buying things, and that's something I need to spend my attention on. So there's so much here, but that is the attention economy in a nutshell. And so just a reminder here, millions of dollars are spent to make a scroll, and it is not your fault. Where I think a lot of people get hung up on this, well, it's my own fault. Like I don't have the willpower to stop this stuff. When in fact, I have millions here, but likely billions of dollars have been spent on science to circumvent our own willpower. I mean, these things are tapping into parts of our bodies that we don't even really have full control over. And so that is one thing just to be really, that feels really important to remind about. And so we talk a lot about this at Conscious Ground. We call it manufactured disconnection. And the attention economy is just one piece of that. It is a system where, okay, our attention is being fragmented and captured. It stops us from being able to be present. And we'll go into this in a little more detail, where we can't be present with ourselves. We can't be present with other people. So we can't really connect with what's real. We can't connect with the people around us. And so then, I mean, there's already a loneliness problem. We might be feeling more alone. And then, of course, all of this stuff is drawing us in. All of this, remember, social media was supposed to connect us all in ways we couldn't imagine. And in some ways it did, but we have more connection than ever. We have more possibility to be connected than ever. Yet the numbers around loneliness are skyrocketing. And oh yeah, Bridget, I didn't see your statement before, but yeah, the negative content being amplified is a huge issue. But yeah, so this is a system. People are aware of this. The companies that do this to us are aware of so much of these problems that I'm talking about, and they choose every day to do this. And they in fact prioritize this over the good stuff. And this goes up to, the talking about regulating technology and things like this, where our leadership, if you want to call it, and policies and government don't really prioritize the good. They allow this to happen. It is a system, and the attention economy is just one part of what we call manufactured disconnection. So I want to just go into a little bit of some of the things we're losing. This is not an exhaustive list, but some studies have showed just over 2 hours a day we're losing in terms of being able to be present with each other. One study shows that when we get distracted, when we get lost, it takes over 23 minutes to fully come back. So think about if you're wanting to be with another person and you are distracted, and we're getting in these cycles of distraction, and how much it takes to actually get back to being fully present with somebody and I think about just the concept of connection in general, and the feeling of connection, and how much that's being impacted here. And then, yeah, the numbers around loneliness are huge. We talked about this a lot in our last event, where so many people are feeling just so lonely and disconnected every day. And yet we have all this technology, but it's making our loneliness worse. And so with that, I want to do another moment. I want to do some of the work. So now that we've gone over this a little bit, I'd like to do another check-in. Maybe take a breath again. And I'm curious how this is all landing with folks. People maybe want to drop something in the chat here again. How does that all make you feel? I know this stuff, and man, it one bums me out. Yeah, it annoys me too. Yeah. Um, and like, yeah, I'm aware of a lot of this stuff, but it makes me mad. Um, Reconnects me to my big feelings of anger about this, which is very motivating for my work. Thank you. Same. Like, oh my gosh. Completely agree. I would love to maybe another point here about your work. It's so opposite from the original promise of connected tech. Absolutely. I cannot say enough too about just how I feel about tech in general. I work in tech, and I remember the like I liked Apple many years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, like the technology, it's incredible, it's inspiring. I was so excited. And like tech companies give us the promise of this is going to change your life for the better. And I have never felt further from that than ever. Yeah. 23 minutes to get your life back. That's truly shocking. Yeah. Well said, Ken. Was thinking about that perhaps people seek emotion-filled content because they can't be authentic in their workspace. Thank you.
I
Um,
agree with that.
yeah, I agree with that too. I run a leadership group at my work, and I last year I did a session on authenticity, and that was the most popular session of the year because people feel they have to wear a mask. That takes energy. It's draining to do that. And so, yeah, just very well said. Thanks for checking in, y'all. Like, I'm feeling a shift just in this conversation. So thank you. Um, cool. Let's move on. So the common advice around that I see around the attention economy is one, well, okay, we've got to manage our screen time. We've got to set up some timers. There's these new apps and devices that you like touch your phone to, and it locks your phone out. And it's like a productivity problem. It's like, okay, well, I can be more productive if I don't look at my phone. Um, Meditate more. I see this one a lot. Work on meditation, notice your thoughts, be mindful, focus on your breath. And this is kind of like an individual problem. And I think This is a valid point, absolutely. Or just stop using your devices, like completely detox them. I see people adopting these like dumb phones now that are like the flip. People are going back to the flip phones, which I think is like a decent idea. And just again, willpower is going to somehow stop us from this $1 trillion machine that is focused at our brains. And so I would say like none of this is wrong, like at all. I try to manage my time. I meditate. I've been meditating for quite a long time. I think it's incredibly helpful. It's changed my life. And also, in my opinion, when we think about things like this, it puts it into like an individual problem. Like it's like, okay, well, if I just do my thing, I'll be able to solve it for myself and I'll have more time to focus. And while all of these things are fine, I think it's just so much bigger than this. And so here's what I want to get into what attention really is. And a lot of this came out of the book that I mentioned. So we hear about it in terms of focus, in terms of productivity, but it is so much more than that. Attention is how we connect with ourselves, how we feel what's going on in our bodies, notice our emotions, hear our own thoughts, what's going on in our heads. Attention is, I think this is a really interesting and important one. It's how we see the world. Your attention, how you see the world is completely different than mine. It is unique to you. If a bunch of us were to look at one thing, every single one of us would see something different. That's beautiful. That's something that cannot be replaced. And I think that's just so important to think about when we think about all of this. It's, of course, how we connect with others. If we cannot put our full or a decent amount of our attention with other people, true deep connection cannot happen. This is something that's just so very important to me. Attention is how we experience joy and love, and just so many things that are really important in life happen through attention. Yeah, it's like a tidal wave coming at us, and we're blaming ourselves for drowning. Thank you. And I think also we're encouraged to blame ourselves for this, right? Where it's just so much. So yeah, thank you for saying that. It's how we lead. Leadership is an incredibly important thing to me. Seeing people showing appreciation is one of the greatest gifts that we can give other people. You don't need to be in a position of leadership or at your job to do this. When I think about leadership and when we talk about leadership at Conscious Ground, it is human-centered leadership for people, how we are with people. We need to be able to see people and experience people and share that. And that requires attention. And then meaning. Oh my gosh. What we give our time and our presence to is kind of how we determine and develop what matters to us. And so, how can we ever develop meaning if we are constantly co opted? And I just think this is one of all of these are important to me, and there's more, but this one's just really, really big to me. And so, yeah, the bigger problem is the attention economy isn't just stealing our time. It is literally shaping who we are. It's shaping how we see the world. It's shaping how we are with each other. And I just think, wow, it's not so much about screen time, about how we focus, about how productive we can be. It is way bigger than that. It is so much bigger than that. And I think like this was just such an awakening point for me when I learned about this in a new way. And so when we think about just what the insight is here, attention's how we shape our world. And it is so vital. It's like one of the most important things we have. I mentioned at the beginning of Conscious Ground, we talk about human skills. There's a lot of things that fall into that for me, but I've come to think that, wow, attention is a human skill. It's one of our most vital human skills. And it's something that I think is so important that we not only cultivate, but protect. Making connections has to be more stimulating than screens. Thank you. Thank you. I have a thought about that later. You're like already in my head about where we're going to be. Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Dang, I was not aware of that quote. Thank you. Wow. Feeling that. Amazing. All right. I want to just briefly talk about the connection of attention to connection, and how important this feels. And so I was lucky enough to attend a conference a few weeks ago, and I met a guy who studies this stuff. He's a researcher at Stanford. I saw him do a talk, connected with him, and yeah, this guy is doing literal research around this stuff, and it was just inspiring to hear him talk. And there's this concept of social health. We talk about it a lot here. And it's the idea that our relationships, we talked about it in our last monthly event, our relationships are one of the drivers of a healthy life and a fulfilling life. It's as important as like our physical health, eating food, our mental health. Our relationships are a foundation for a healthy and what people would say is a fulfilling life. And so these are some recent stats that this researcher shared around this. So loneliness, if you are chronically lonely, you have a 29% chance of increased chance of having heart disease. You have a 50% increased chance of dementia. I don't know if any of you have experienced dementia. I have seen it in my family, and it's so sad to watch people forget who they are. And 50%, like a 50% chance. And with the numbers that we're hearing about of how lonely people are, like, oh my gosh, this is just, it's making me sad right now to think about it. 77% increased risk of depression. Like 77% is like a mind-blowing number to me. And just, man, so much of the attention economy contributes to this. And lastly, just 29% increased chance of early mortality. I just almost 30% these numbers are crazy to me. And I heard, I've heard numbers like this before, but this researcher who I met, he's studying this right now. These are current numbers. These are from late last year. This is real. Like this is a major problem. Um, but there is good news. Um, we can change all of this. We can change all of this. And I would say you, by being here right now, are already doing it just by like spending some time tonight, by showing up here to learn, to be with other people. You're doing the work. And I want to start off with that. But the last section I want to go through here is kind of like what else can we do about this? And I got a couple of things. I want to start off here with a suggestion because I feel like when people hear about the attention economy and people have known about it for years, I see the reaction of when people are on their phones, when kids are on their phones, it's like a shaming reaction. It's like, oh my gosh, like get off your phone. And there's like a very aggressive, and I think this is what Deb, you said. There's just like this aggressive, like, get off your phone. What are you doing? And it's a very like kind of like a shameful response. And I don't think um, that's a great way to go about it personally. I mean, it might work on some people. But since I become more acquainted with this and I see people doing that to others, I just don't think it really works. So just a note here, I think educating and inspiring other people by how we live and what we're learning and sharing, like, oh my gosh, what I learned that I just shared here, just about how important attention is, and sharing that rather than just saying, hey, it's bad to be on your devices. Just a personal note that felt important to share. I think that's a kind of a better approach on this stuff than just saying, hey, this is bad, don't do this, and it's going to be really bad for you. Just a note there. So we put together a little framework around this. It's very simple, I think, just ways to think about this. And At the end here, I'll also, yeah, we'll share not only the framework, but also we put together a little like practice guide and challenge framework where you can spend 7 days picking some practices to choose from to kind of work on this and kind of bring this into your life and maybe into the lives of other people. But the framework's just three things. It's be aware of the attention economy, what's happening to our attention, the forces that are profiting from it, and how this works. I think everybody here, you're already doing that tonight. I think, and I hope in just going over this for a few minutes, people have a new awareness around what this is. But I also think it's kind of now that you know this, and this happened to me once I became more acquainted to this content, was just seeing it more in my life. Like, oh my gosh, how I'm on my phone without noticing it, or just so many of the other ways that we can get captured. And just yeah, being closer to this kind of new way of looking at it has really opened my eyes, and it continues to grow my awareness. So that's framework. That's number one. Number two, I would say, is cultivate your own attention. Practice putting your attention on things that matter. Now that you know about not only just some of the bad things, but how important intention is, what attention really is, um, cultivate it more in your life. One simple thing that I have done, I have a cat, I love her. But I've just been spending some time just like she loves to come sit near me. And I've just been like, I'm gonna spend some time, just a couple of minutes with her and looking at her and just feeling that. And it's one thing out of many I've been trying, but I'm like, dang, it's so nice to do this. It's so much nicer to do this than scrolling on my phone. Like I feel the difference. And so there's lots of ways to cultivate. There will be some ideas for you in the document we'll share. But then that's the last piece. It is sharing. It is not only giving your attention to other people, but maybe tell them what's at stake. Tell them what you've learned. Tell them your thoughts and your passion, if it is there, about how important attention is and what we might be losing, but also what can be reclaimed here. And that's it. I think it's just a simple three-step process on how we can really turn things around. So we've got a couple more small things tonight, but I want to pause and I want to curious, any thoughts, any questions before we move on to kind of our last section here. And I've been loving what's been in the chat so far, so thank you so much. No pressure if nothing else extra is coming up at the moment. Cool. Well, let's move on. We're going to do some practice. We are going to do what's called the noticing game. Has anybody ever heard of this? I'm guessing not. Oh, okay. Bridget is cool. Okay, cool. I love this one. I think this is very simple. And it's something that I think is a great way to cultivate attention with yourself and with oh, Bridget. Okay. Yes, that's where I learned it. Authentic relating. Absolutely. Cool. So this is what we're doing. We're going to go into pairs. This is going to be only a few minutes, but we're going to take turns using this sentence. So the first person is going to start off. They're going to say, being with you, I notice. And you can notice something you're feeling in your body, something you're seeing in the other person, an expression, a thought. It can be anything you notice. Don't try to think about it too much. The first thing that you notice. Then the next person's gonna take over and say, hearing that, I notice. And same thing, what's coming up? An emotion, a shift, something in response. And again, doesn't have to be anything deep. And then you're gonna go back and forth just for a couple of minutes. Hearing that, I notice. Next person hearing that, I notice. And I will say, if you haven't done this before, it might feel a little weird, might feel a little awkward, but I encourage you to really give it a shot, and see what happens. See what you notice. Put some attention on yourself, maybe the other person. Your attention might go to, hey, this feels weird. This feels awkward, and that's okay. That's attention. That's attention in practice. So some just additional notes here. we're going to stay with what's happening in the moment. So try not to make up, like, there probably will be stories, but try not to focus on that. Try to focus on what you're noticing in the moment. Try to notice some feelings and sensations. Like that doesn't have to be all of it, but try to see if you can get out of your thinking brain if possible. This is a big one. If somebody shares something, I think it's common, especially for me, to try to caretake or fix if something comes up. Try to avoid that. Try to stay in the flow of what you're noticing and go from there. And then, yeah, we'll do maybe about 7 minutes. So you can spend a minute or two just saying hi. And this will go by pretty quick. And we'll let you know when it's time to come back. Okay. Any kind of questions on that? I'll just drop this in the chat here so people have that as well. Any questions? Is that clear to everybody? All right, cool. Give me a moment. I'm going to pause the recording for a second. Thanks. All right. So, like I said, you all did this tonight. Just showing up, you're learning, you practiced, you put your attention on yourself, you put your attention on some other people just now. And that's great work. And it's just a start. There's so much more that we can do. And I hope also just with some new information, some new awareness, you can try some more things. So some things, just a few things you could try this week. You could bring it. This is one of the things we love to do is offer just some simple steps to try things in your own life, to bring to other people, to create that positive change in the world. So one thing here we have is, oh, sorry, something is, there we go. So you can just do a simple attention check-in. Now that you know what attention is, now that you know what it includes, a few times a day, you could just pause and ask, like, where is my attention right now, and who chose it? Did I, with intention, decide to do what I am doing? Or was I directed? Was I drawn in? Was I captured? And in myself in doing this, um, I was shocked to find how much like, oh, I didn't really actively choose this. I was drawn in. That's something you can try every day. It's kind of like you could put a thing on your calendar, or you could set some reminders, but that's a simple one. I love this one. Choose something you love. Um, for me, I love music, and I realized, oh man, I listen to so much music without really paying attention to it. And so just the simple act of putting my full attention on something, I mean, in this case, for me, opened up just a new world of listening to songs in a different way that I hadn't done in so long. So whether that's music, whether that's, taking a walk. I know a lot of people like cooking. Anything that you're aware of that you love, try to, just for 10 minutes, do it in a different way with spending some more attention on it. And then with that attention on yourself and how it makes you feel. Simple, but I think really powerful practice. And then one thing you could do today, you could do almost right now, probably, notice something good about a person near you, something specific, and just tell them. This is not only leadership, but it's just, it's connection. It's being a human being. Anybody can practice this. And this is practicing attention as well as appreciation. Just three simple things to leave you with. So as we close out, this is kind of just the beginning of what we do. We offer these free monthly events, and we also do quite a lot more. We opened up some cohort-based courses recently. I also do a lot of work around facilitation, group facilitation, things like mediation and things like that, or teaching people how to be facilitators, which I think is just another way to practice connection and leadership with other people. But quite a lot there. You can follow us at conscioussground.net, and there you can see our social media there and everything we're all about. Three small asks tonight or tomorrow, maybe. Just share something that you learned tonight with another person. Maybe give us a follow. As we close, maybe drop in the chat if you felt a shift tonight. Did you putting your attention on this and on yourself. Did you notice a change from when you first got here to when we are here leaving now? And I would love to hear that. And that is it. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to drop into the chat a few things. One, we're going to drop in a link to a guide, which has some more attention practices in it. We'll also drop in our next event next month, which is around human skills. We talk about human skills. Our next month's event is around what exactly does that mean in a world of kind of machines and AI. Is the lines of like what people are saying around what humans and machines can do is blurring. And I think it's a good time to remind ourselves what makes us uniquely and genuinely human so that we can focus on those things. And yeah, if you're not already on our community, on our newsletter, you can sign up there. We send out one thing once a month around our events and things like this that are recordings and practices you can do. So if you're not already signed up there, you can do that. So I'll hang out for a few minutes if anybody has any questions. But thank you all for joining and being here. And yeah, really appreciate your time tonight. We'll stop the recording and hang out for a minute if anybody would like.